You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. We found out this weekend that another member of LSU's 2021 coaching staff will not be back in 2022, and honestly, it's one that probably was on the short list that many thought might be back because of the job he did in 2021. That's linebacker coach Blake Baker, who via Twitter posted a message: "Forever grateful for our time here in Baton Rouge. The opportunity to coach here was a dream come true. LSU will always be a special place for me and my family for so many reasons. We can't say thank you enough to all the people that played a part in making our experience such a memorable one. To the guys in the locker room, I will always cherish and appreciate the relationships we have built. Saying goodbye to y'all is always the hardest." Blake Baker, with that message earlier, one season as LSU's linebackers coach, of course, was the DC at Miami, left Miami to come to Baton Rouge, and his impact was felt immediately, maybe by none more than Damone Clark, who had a pretty heartfelt message that he posted on Twitter to Blake Baker. He wrote that Damone Clark did: "Blessed God allowed us to cross paths and build a relationship that will last forever. Believed in me when others counted me out. Helped me get where I am today. To the coolest and realest coach, I simply say thank you." Again, that's what Damone Clark posted earlier today about Blake Baker. Or excuse me, that was over the weekend about Blake Baker, who will not be back after one season in Baton Rouge. And I'll tell you, this one is a little odd. So Blake Baker, I think many know that his wife's family is from Louisiana. So there was I think she played soccer here, if I'm not mistaken. That was one of the big appeals to him being here and coming to LSU. And I know that Brian Kelly wanted to have the staff evaluated by the end of last week. So it made sense that you found out a lot of this, not just on field, but support staff personnel also that were let go over the weekend. But Blake Baker is one that had offers, y'all. What I was told was had no less than 4 offers to go be a DC that he turned down. One of them, I'll tell you flatly, was SMU. That SMU was wanting to hire Blake Baker to be their defensive coordinator, and he passed on that opportunity because he wanted to stay at LSU, wanted to stay in Baton Rouge. We mentioned, when you have family considerations and you want to be here. So it's one of those things where timing of these announcements really do matter, because for the Bakers, they were clearly hoping to stay here, to stay in Baton Rouge and to stay in Louisiana close to family. But it'll be something else for Blake Baker, whatever and whenever and wherever that may be. But it's one of those where you probably wish that decision had come just a little bit sooner, because he might have passed on better opportunities somewhere else, thinking he might have a chance to stay here at LSU. Where he goes next, I don't know, and I'll be interested to see. It's a guy who's got major college football defensive coordinator experience, and perhaps the biggest feather in his cap is what he did with Damone Clark this year. We shared with you just a moment ago Damone Clark's feelings, but y'all, I mean, the undeniable part about Damone Clark's transformation is look at what he did year to year. I mean, in 2020, Damone Clark, remember, Bo Pelini worked with the linebackers in 2020. He was the DC, but he also worked with the linebackers. So Damone Clark got the 18 jersey, kid from Baton Rouge, supposed to be this leader. And last year in 2020, it just didn't materialize. Man, he had just 63 tackles, 1 sack. He looked lost. Really, at the end of the season, lost his job. They started putting Micah Baskerville on the field more and really just sort of rotating Damone Clark at times. I mean, it was such an oddity because your 2 18s last year were Damone Clark and Chris Curry, and neither ended up playing. Curry ended up transferring. Damone Clark stuck it out another year, and Blake Baker coming in, Durante Jones running a new defense to a degree. Look at what happened to Damone Clark year to year. he went from being a guy that probably was not a draftable prospect to leading college football in tackles with 136, 5.5 sacks. I mean, incredible. And 12 tackles for loss. 15 tackles for loss, which tied for the lead in the SEC. Tied for second in the SEC, the 15 tackles for loss. An incredible season, an All-America caliber season where, honestly, Damone Clark was snubbed. Now, I don't know if you just look at it and you say the difference, the unlock was Blake Baker. Where it's easy to look and say, well, the only variable that changed was Blake Baker. It's not exactly true. You had other guys on the defense. You had a new defensive coordinator come in. But clearly, Damone Clark is giving Blake Baker a ton of credit for his development. And that's something from a guy who went from really a guy who's going to be an undrafted prospect to we're talking about a day 2 guy, potentially, if he goes and blows up at the Senior Bowl, at the Combine, a guy that could, if a team falls in love with him, sneak at the end of round 1 or maybe early round 2. That's a remarkable transformation, and Blake Baker deserves a ton of credit for that. Now, I don't know what this means for LSU at the linebacker spot, but it does sort of underscore the report from Football Scoop this weekend, which is that they're looking at Matt House. And if Matt House becomes the DC, well, Matt House right now is the linebackers coach with the Kansas City Chiefs. So if Matt House comes in and is going to coach linebackers, and you don't have a spot for your linebacker coach. If Brad White from Kentucky had taken the job, maybe Blake Baker stays. Maybe Blake Baker's got his spot. But because Brad White stayed at Kentucky, and now it looks like Matt House is the guy coming in and he's going to coach linebackers, that's probably what pushed Blake Baker out. But either way, you applaud him for the year that he gave LSU, the job he did, and no greater evidence of the way he taught and lifted these guys and elevated these guys than what we saw in the transformation year to year from Damone Clark. So Blake Baker is a guy who I think it's going to surprise many, thinking he might have had a chance to stay, but I think there's a very clear indicator of what's coming at the DC spot, and probably the only reason why Blake Baker isn't retained on the staff. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.